To enter university, you have to win this performance. Enemies are waiting below the stage to see the protagonist Wendy make a fool of herself. In such a high-pressure environment, can Wendy successfully complete the performance and secure her ticket to enter? Let's wait and see. Wendy walked onto the stage with a peeper in her hand, calmly introducing herself and the piece she was going to perform. As the performance began, her fingertips lightly plucked the strings of the peeper, and the notes flowed out like a clear spring, quickly catching the attention of the audience. As the piece progressed, the peeper's sound gradually became louder, like a mighty army thundering past, making people feel as if they were in another world. Her playing technique was skillful, her sense of music was excellent, and she interpreted every note to the fullest, making people intoxicated and unable to extricate themselves for a long time. At the end of the piece, thunderous applause erupted in the venue, and the judges praised her endlessly. They all stood up and applauded warmly, using all possible words of praise to describe her performance, praising her outstanding musical talent and playing skill. Wendy was very proud and excited to hear these compliments, and her feelings were difficult to describe in words. At that moment, Dylan stood up from his seat and walked towards the stage with a bouquet of flowers in his hands. Everyone looked at him in surprise, wondering what he was going to do. Dylan walked to Wendy like a prince, gazed at her affectionately, and then handed her the flowers, praising her for playing so well. His words were gentle and encouraging, making Wendy feel incredibly warm and flattered. Dylan touched her head, and then turned to wait for her at the school gate. After a while, the results of the competition finally came out. The contestants walked towards the scoring area eagerly, nervously waiting for their scores. The contestant area suddenly boiled up, with some complaining about only getting a C, and some celebrating their admission. Some looked disappointed, while others were ecstatic, making the scene exceptionally lively. Wendy's half-sister received an A, but she was very self-righteous and thought she could get an S, feeling very embarrassed, and returned to the contestant area with a red face, not daring to look at anyone's eyes again. Wendy carefully opened her own scorecard and, as expected, received an S. The judges approached Wendy to shake her hand, expressing their admiration for her performance and predicting that she would become a new star in the music industry. Her best friend jumped for joy, but her half-sister Lucy was very angry and accused Wendy of buying off the judges. Wendy smiled faintly and held up her official scorecard saying, "This is official. Don't cry, or you'll embarrass yourselves." Afterwards, Wendy turned around and walked out of the concert hall hand in hand with her best friend. As they walked, someone suddenly grabbed Wendy's wrist. She turned around and saw it was Jordan, a top violinist who also received an S in the competition. He accused Wendy of being a person without dignity, begging others in a low voice for little money. Wendy coldly replied, "This is none of your business. Please mind your own business." She then left with her friend, leaving Jordan standing there, angry. Outside the school gate, Dylan leaned against his car, one hand in his pocket and the other swinging casually, with a faint smile on his face. He wore a black suit that emphasized his slender figure, and a leather jacket that made him look even more handsome and charming. His natural, slightly messy hair added to his rugged appeal. Wendy walked towards Dylan, with her best friend in tow, and introduced him. Her friend had a good eye, and quickly shook his hand before running off. Dylan took Wendy's instrument, and asked her to get into the car first. As Wendy was about to get in, her younger brother Marco hugged her from behind and asked, "Who is this guy? He's so handsome. You're acting different around him." Wendy stuttered and told him he was her boyfriend, then whispered for Marco to be quiet. Dylan was puzzled as to why even Wendy's brother didn't know about their relationship. He leaned closer to Wendy and asked this question in a slightly serious tone. Do you want to know how Wendy answered? How will she continue her lie? Follow us and stay tuned for the next exciting commentary.